What's up, everybody? We're back on Unemployed Commentators. I am your host, Gian Carlo,
And I am your host, Gary Miller.
Gary John Meta, and we're watching UFC 6. Ken Shamrock versus Dan Severn in 1995. You got a catch wrestler like Ken Shamrock against, what was he? What type of
Uh,
wrestler was he?
I'd say like folk style wrestling.
Folk style wrestler?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like Greco-Roman
yeah.
freestyle wrestler, Dan Severn. Both of these guys are pioneers in the UFC and MMA in general, bringing that
hmm
wrestling knowledge to it.
I think it's interesting when and we were talking before we even get into the fight when you have like these two kind of different wrestling styles.
Hmm.
Like Ken Shamrock with like shoot fighting, like that shoot a shoot can, which is almost like how professional wrestling kind of evolved from too, like all these complex holds and
Hmm.
submission locks. Whereas a guy like Dan Severn coming from like American folk style and Greco and freestyle, and specifically like folk style too, it's more about control than
Yeah.
anything, not so much like submission locks. And it's interesting to see how it's kind of evolved now too. You have like the MMA style of wrestling too. You
Do you
know,
think Shoot Cell actually came from Japan?
a little bit too. If we look at the history of street fighting, I mean, it's a hybrid combat sport and street combat style.
Hmm.
And it's from Japan, but it's got a lot of like there's uh, Shuto or Shuto wrestler too. I think he fought against Muhammad Ali in like early MMA.
Was
And
that
he wrestled.
Antonio Inoki?
Yep,
Yep.
Inoki. Yep, and that was kind of like that roots of that stuff too. I remember Ali was like his shins were so banged up too.
Yeah, fucked
Yeah,
up his legs big time. I
yeah,
think that was the first ever MMA fight.
yep.
And
Um,
Japan.
and it's interesting too, like that style because I think Dan Severn, I mean, is like that early. And we talked. He lost his to get to the Olympics to Rubenach. I believe Rubenach was a Oklahoma State wrestler. I looked that up to verify. I don't like talking out of my ass. Um,
That's
uh,
me every day, dude.
yeah.
All the time.
But Rubenach too. He won a gold medal in freestyle in the 220
Jesus.
pound weight class.
For
Um,
those who don't know wrestling, what's the difference between freestyle and then Greco?
so Greco is entirely upper body. Like you'll penalize for using your legs.
Mm,
So and you get rewarded for throws like a takedown in Greco, and it kind of always changes the freestyle in Greco because I think there was for a moment you couldn't get points for pushing out of bounds, but now like you can get points for pushing out of bounds. There's parterre for a while too, and I think they just changed that too, and I'm interested to see how it kind of changes once COVID ends. Freestyle is the Olympic style you most often see where it's like takedowns, and then if you expose, it's more about exposure. So exposure to your back is a key point. I
okay.
take someone down and expose their back, but if you take someone down, they get like 30 seconds to turn somebody.
Do you think freestyle is the most realistic style when it comes to wrestling?
I think it's the most explosive. I
Really?
don't know about the most realistic because I mean, like when you're down, I think what I like about folk style is like when you're down, you have to learn to get out and escape.
Yeah.
So like college wrestling, which is essentially like the pros of folk style, you can get writing time too. So if you get like rode out, you get another point. And that's all about like I think that's all about the most realistic because like somebody doesn't want to let you up, they don't have to. You have to figure out a way to get out.
Isn't that like why Randy Couture is just so like he was just so how do you say so dominating as a wrestler because he was actually a Greco-Roman wrestler.
Yeah, he's I mean that clinch too from being a
Hmm.
Greco-Roman wrestler. I mean I think that translates well when you talk MMA to even like uh, fucking and I'm sure our last guest Sky could probably back me up on that, but talking about putting that clinch to Muay Thai too and
Hmm.
transitioning into working out of that. Um, yeah, I definitely think that helps translate too because when you're working Greco even you're doing a lot more like underhooks and upper body stuff and how to work from there and score without
That's
even using your
crazy.
legs. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Their upper body strength must be so fucking out of this world.
There's guys. I mean, like there's a lot of shit talking too. I think too, where people are like, I've even had like old coach of mine. Like there's another coach who's an Olympian for Greco, and he'd always give him shit. He's like, oh yeah, you can be an Olympian and not using your fucking legs, yeah. But to me, I'm like, you're all fucking badasses. But
what was your style of wrestling that you liked the most?
Folk style. I like
Folk
freestyle.
style?
I like freestyle though too. Greco was always fun, but I think it's tough to learn the rules when you start. Like most American kids would start wrestling folk style, and then it was easier doing freestyle than Greco.
Damn.
100%.
I feel like it's a lot more technical than freestyle.
I definitely feel like you have to have a lot better body position.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't wrestle funky in freestyle because you'll expose your back.
Yeah.
So, but like if you go heel overhead here, if you throw somebody, it's 5 points.
But you can still attack the legs though, as a
freestyle, yeah. Folk style free, yeah. And then like you could tech somebody if you turn them. I believe if it's 6-0, it's a tech. Let me say I feel like I'm wrong on that, but yeah, you could tech somebody or pin them if both their shoulders touch the mat in freestyle or Greco. It's done, and that's a pin. Just 1 second, boom, done.
Dude, Dan Severn pulled out that mustache perfectly.
Yeah. Oh,
he
that
was like
peak like old masculine tough guy.
Yeah, for real, dude. He was like one of my main inspirations when I had a mustache.
When you look at his size statistics, it's like 6'2", 260 pounds.
And then like Ken Shamrock's like 205 pounds.
Yeah. And this is like those old guys like back in the day were like, dude, my grandpa used to be so big and fucking mean.
Yep. I love the fact that they were wearing wrestling shoes back then.
Oh yeah, well, like that old stuff. I'm sure we'll get into. Was it Art? Was it Art Guile? Who wore a boxing glove.
Oh yeah. I forgot his name, but I know was it Art Barr?
I'm gonna look this up. Art Jimerson.
Art Jimerson, yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually Where They're At Now on the UFC Fight Pass, and he talks about that, and that shit killed me.
Well, it's like at that point too. It's like there's no like governing body, man. It's just like we're gonna figure this out as we go along. You know what I mean? Even like when it's like no holds barred, and like you can eye gouge, and that dude is just railing on his nuts.
Yeah, he's just punching his nuts.
You know what I mean? It's like when we talk about like true fighting, and you're like asking about wrestling, it's like I mean, even like a lot of holds in folk style don't do shit when you face a jiu-jitsu guy. It's not gonna help. Like go ahead and fucking try to do a leg turk on somebody who's already on their back. They don't give a shit.
Dude, this is like such a classic grappling match too.
Oh yeah.
With just punches. No one's throwing kicks here. If they did, they'll be taken down.
Yep. And I guess like to talk about more like our pre-fight with like a guy like Ken Shamrock. I mean, I think
heel hooks and leg locks were shit, dude.
I mean, his nickname is the world's most dangerous man.
I know, right? It doesn't even like. It's not even a catchy nickname.
No.
It was just literally a fact.
You have Dan Severn the Beast. Yeah. Okay.
Dan the Beast Severn.
You know. And I think it's interesting to note, like, talking about their acting careers, both of them, too.
You mean pro wrestling?
Like, they both parlayed, like, into acting in movies and stuff, too.
And pro wrestling, dude.
Yeah.
They were both in the WWF, now the WWE. Yep. And Dan Severn was actually trained by Al Snow. Did you see that guillotine?
Ooh.
Jesus. That was fast. It wasn't even like a really technical guillotine, especially during the time. I mean, like now, people can get out of that easily now.
Yeah. 100%.
But then again, Ken Shamrock is 205 pounds. If you grab my neck, I would have attacked quickly, especially grabbing 100%. I'd be like, I'm done. Don't break my neck.
Look at, I mean, Shamrock's back, dude.
Yeah.
Like, And
Look at that. He just goes for that single leg. Ken Shamrock gets that guillotine, and he just did that guillotine.
yeah,
Then gets his back almost. Then he grabs an underhook down Severn.
I think that's how it evolves though too. It's like, all right, how did I get caught here?
Yeah, and then Dan Severn punches him in the nuts, and then just does a guillotine where he could have just fall back.
Mhm.
But then again, like you didn't know, like no one really knew jiu-jitsu at that time other than the Gracies.
And then Ken Shamrock, I mean, he's got that over under
Mm-hmm.
right here too, and I think that's where like you defer like certain wrestlers. I think nowadays too how it's evolved.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at this over under when they're side to side too, like dudes will slip out the back like limp arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here too, like you've seen so many fighters too come that over under.
Yep.
And I've seen Cejudo do it too, where they've got those throws and they've gotten so good at that implementing it too.
Yeah.
So
Damn. That was a fast fight.
Mhm.
I don't even remember it being that fast.
'cause I remember back in the day, I mean, it's Ken Shamrock was always involved in those slugfests.
He did actually like 30 minutes in a fight against Royce Gracie, and they had to call it a draw.
Damn.
Like Ken Shamrock, even before jiu-jitsu was a thing, he was actually really knowledgeable when it came to leg locks.
I think even like watching this post-fight interview too, like how having a guy like Joe Rogan in there too has kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Like I bet this guy doesn't even know anything about fighting.
And I think they, in a weird way, it was like, who do you have to model it after? It's like boxing and WWE.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's become its own. It's crazy how it's become its own thing.
Dude,
And
the sport of MMA has progressed so much and actually changed martial arts more in the past 27 years than it did in thousands and thousands of years.
hmm I think it's really. I mean, some people have said like it's hurt, but I was like, I think it's helped wrestling because I think a lot more kids now, and I think because for years, I mean, the college when you're talking about college sports, it's like the American. It's a farm system for professional sports where they're not really getting paid.
Yeah.
And college wrestlers, after you get done with college wrestling, you used to just go straight to the Olympics or train for that.
But
And
there's
that's not.
like no pro sports.
Yeah, there's no pro sports. So now you have the UFC, you have Bellator, you have all these things where kids can go to an athlete. At the very least, you can work as a coach. You know, you can get work as a gym, as a partner, and all these kinds of things. I think it's really helped, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, for real.
Mhm.
I think the sport of mixed martial arts actually helped the sport of wrestling big time.
Yeah, and I think kids are like, oh, I need to learn how to box now, I need to learn how to Muay Thai, I mean, Jiu-Jitsu.
But I think
All these things.
wrestling is the most important art to learn first.
I think it's a good base for sure.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
dictate where the fight goes.
Yeah, I
Like,
think any kind of grappling.
Yeah, because if you like striking a lot, and if your first art was wrestling,
Mhm.
you're gonna stay on your feet. Especially like a guy like Justin Gaethje himself. He's like he wants to stay on the feet. He never takes a person down. Like he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
If he could, he would, but no one can take him down really.
yeah.
But
Like
then,
fucking Chuck Liddell was like the pioneer of that shit. He was a college wrestler as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if he just wanted to keep it standing, but then you got people like Tito Ortiz and like Joe Daddy Stevenson, who were wrestlers who actually just wanted to go to the ground and just submit. Frank Mir was Frank Mir a wrestler?
A good question. I don't know if he
Actually,
was.
I'll Google that.
Yeah. I mean, there's everybody who's like my Tiger style's the best.
Yeah,
And you know,
shut that down.
even with wrestling, dude, it's the same shit, dude. Like people will be like, East Coast style, Pennsylvania's the best, Ohio's the best, Iowa's the best, California's the best, Indiana's the best, New Mexico, Oklahoma.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he started wrestling on the basis as a teenager in Bonanza High School during his junior year.
Mm.
So yeah, and it's smart because he actually started out. He began wrestling, and I think he did karate too.
Mm.
Yeah, American Kempo.
Dude, so I'm trying to verify this too. Completely different thing. But Dan Severn was in Rudy.
Oh, that movie, really?
Yeah,
That's crazy. I don't remember him, but I haven't
it's
watched
I
that.
I mean I wouldn't. It just says he played a football player, and
That's hilarious.
and I'm looking at the IMDb and it says Rudy uncredited.
That's crazy.
Yeah, now I'm like, it was one of my favorite movies growing up, but I'm very interested.
Yeah, now I want to watch it again. And be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there he is.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And like talking about like quick fights, so I think this is why like my dad in MMA has kind of been like he'd rather watch boxing
Because it
because
goes
like
down the line.
yeah, and like this shit, it's like he's like oh, it's like when Ben Askren got knocked out, he's like that's just luck. He's like who gives a and he's just for him. He's like you could just get lucky and knee a fucker in the head, you know. And I was like I see where you're coming from, but I was also like that's kind of the point, man. Like you could fucking knock somebody out with all kinds of weapons.
Bro, what's funny is that I told Nora, hey, watch this fight. It's probably going to be fight of the night. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was always like a huge Jorge Masvidal fan.
Yeah,
And I was like, watch this fight, watch this fight.
yeah.
And then when that happened, I was like, I didn't expect that.
Mhm.
like,
Like,
I was more
like
believe.
this one, I mean, it's so short. Just you just get a headlock on somebody. Get a good guillotine and boom, done.
I know. And like, now the best way to get out of that is actually just to go forward, get on side control, put your chin on their ribs, and just pop
Hmm.
out because you can't really choke someone if you're on top of them.
I think how like moves have evolved
Mm-hmm.
all around. Like watching old Dan Gable, and then watching uh, Kel Sanderson, and then now watching guys like Bo Nickel and stuff like that, and even like Ben Askren when he was wrestling at Missouri, and how it's just the style has changed so much. And part of it is when rules change too. You gotta figure out how to win better.
Ben Askren is he was in the Olympics, right?
I believe he tried to make the team but lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But he was actually a prospect, right? When it came to
yeah. So he lost in the trials, but then he went to MMA.
damn,
Yeah,
and he
but
fucking killed it, man. And I feel like
but he
if
was
he
on a
was to be in the UFC earlier, he would have.
world. He was on a world team though.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
amazing, man.
yeah. So he did go to worlds, but like Olympics every 4 years. I mean, and I think your body breaks down too. So
Yeah,
fast in that sport, it's tough to. And what I think is so phenomenal about guys like Jordan Burroughs, I mean, he's been fucking top competitive for years and years.
really. How old is
Yeah,
he right now?
a little older than us. I believe like in his 30s.
Holy shit! Do you
Yeah,
think he would actually go for MMA?
32. He said he doesn't want to, and that he's just wanted to wrestle. But I mean, since being on the world stage since 2011 and last year taking bronze. To me,
That's
that's
crazy.
unreal.
That's fucking insane. Especially like you don't even make money from
Yeah.
wrestling.
No, and that's what I guess I feel like John Jones has been top for so long too, and maintaining that body.
I think it's hilarious though that his last win in freestyle matches was against Franklin Gomez from Puerto Rico.
Who's it? Burrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a Dominican born freestyle wrestler who represents Puerto Rico. So he's
Damn.
Dominican.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won the title
Yeah.
NCAA Division One title, 133 pounds. But it's crazy, man, because like no one really showed me where to wrestle at in Puerto Rico. Like there's no high schools that had that. So I'm like
Yeah.
wondering how.
Because you've talked about MMA from Puerto Rico too, and
It
how
fucking
you kind of get
sucks.
it. Yeah. Because like we had very different. I mean, I'm in. I feel like I've been in the heart of it in Colorado
Yeah, for sure.
for forever. Where like it was just casually where like I just knew all these professional MMA fighters
That's
because
crazy.
they were always coaching us, or they'd go in the room like up in UNC. I mean, I could talk to my buddies Rocco DePaulo, where like it was GSP and Shane Carwin and
That's
all these
insane.
people, and that's where like Gagey was at too during that same time period,
Mm-hmm.
and his former head coach Ben Charrington, who was a national champion,
That's
and
insane, dude.
Ben Charrington's still coaching, and he's helping with high school too.
Yeah,
You know,
dude. I actually got like starstruck when it comes to like UFC fighters when I moved here, for
mm-hmm.
sure. because I was just like, I didn't grow up with that. I grew up
Yeah.
watching them on TV only. They were like celebrities to me.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, dude. It's 100%. I was spoiled with
Yeah,
like
like
the
you don't know.
yeah. I mean, I lived down the street from a 4-time state champ, and then another 2-timer and another state placer, and 2 of them wrestled at Air Force as D1 wrestlers. And the Nissans, I mean, they were my heroes growing up, and they're just down the street.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of everywhere. I mean, you kind of meet people. Ian Heinisch was the older kid at our high school, and he
Yeah.
was the stud who we were all terrified of. I mean, I was scared shitless. I was like an 8th grader, and he was a junior in high school, and he was the scariest human being I've ever met in my life.
I can imagine.
And this is like, yeah, this is pre-prison Ian Heinisch, you know, and like he had a sister who's our age, and there was like nobody dates your sister. Like it was like terrifying. I was like, when people were like want to just absolutely terrify this guy, I was like, he's gonna beat everybody's ass if we even like look at his sister.
There's always that one guy for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and he just do all kinds of crazy shit that I'm like, you know, and like those were the people I was around, and then you know they're fighting the UFC now. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Damn, dude. I
Yeah.
know this up and comer here in Albuquerque who's like becoming a star in Bellator, Aaron Pico.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
he's fucking dope too.
he's a killer, man. I'm excited to see his growth in the sport for sure.
Which is like crazy. Like Shamrock was such an anomaly, I think, in many ways, and like there's so many people who look like him
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
You know,
All
and
these like wrestlers that are like submission specialists remind me of Ken Shamrock.
what was it the dude, Gary Tonin, right? And
Dude,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
The Danaher Death Squad.
Yeah.
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 But yeah,
And
Gary Tonin, dude, that guy's a fucking he's something else. I had him all nasty on the baby, and that
yeah.
guy, he's funny as shit, dude.
Oh, I love his shit, dude. Like he's the kind of guy where it's like you would love to roll with because you know you learn so much shit from him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just picking his mind would be so awesome.
Yeah,
I think,
dude.
I think there's a lot of people like that. I think are I mean, kids I even know who are like not even good at school, but they're so fucking smart.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's one of those for sure.
Yeah.
I can tell.
You know, and like because like we got a kid on our wrestling team we coach. He just cannot sit still, man. But he's just such a freak fucking athlete.
He said that he has never smoked or drank until he competed in EBI.
Wow.
Yeah, he took an edible
Wow.
for the first time, and that was his first time having marijuana. He was just like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah.
Of course, he never smoked before,
Yeah.
so like he was just so disciplined, and he was just so obsessed. It's those people that are obsessed in the sport that
Yeah.
will actually just be great.
Yeah.
in
And
my
I
opinion.
mean, I hope I'm not like talking down on him by any means, but I'm like, that just seems like a guy who is just like on another level of, hey, I gotta get up at 6 a.m., fucking probably 4 a.m.
Yeah,
You know, and he's like, I have no interest in all your dumb shit you're doing. You guys have fun with your flip cup. You know?
he actually coached in a gym in New Jersey. He would wake up at 4 a.m, get ready, drive to New York in Manhattan, train with Danaher and Renzo Gracie Academy,
Oh,
and then comes back, teaches in New Jersey at the Brunswick Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he would like lie to the coaches saying that he's not sleeping there, but he actually slept there,
wow.
and then
So,
get up early. Yeah.
and you've actually talked to the man, but like I'm reading like his Wikipedia. It's like as a child, Tonin was identified as having ADHD by his mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like I know so many kids like that who get into grappling, like wrestling, and it's like, and I'm like, I'm 100% like get into that shit because those kids, so much damn energy, where it's like, of course they're not going to want to sit like on a block schedule, 90 minutes, listening to me drone on about the catcher in the rye.
Yep. Exactly.
You know,
Dude, he won so many championships too, bro.
I bet 100% this is like so many. Like I just feel like they get those concepts real quickly, visually. and they're like, I get it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting. And segueing, I guess, back into like Shamrock. I mean, he's another one with a rough childhood too.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was adopted, wasn't he?
mhm.
Let me see.
Yep.
Yeah, he was adopted. He had a strained relationship with Frank Shamrock, who I feel is the father of modern mixed martial arts, in my opinion. He was the first one to have like a kickboxing coach,
Yeah.
a wrestling coach, and like a jiu-jitsu coach, and he tried to mix it all together. And I don't know why he doesn't really get that much recognition in the UFC, but he's a pioneer of just having a coach on each, like
Yeah.
art.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he have like a contract dispute too, and that's maybe why? Or
Probably,
yeah,
which is crazy.
I don't know. It's like the NFL or something. Like there's some players like they won't put forth if there's like something wrong. Like I mean, like not comparing him to OJ Simpson by any means, but like the NFL like doesn't really promote OJ Simpson as much as they used to.
Well, I mean, he did kill two people, even though it was there were just allegations, I guess, right?
Yeah. Um, and I think like out of like all sports, I mean, for the most part, like MMA, there's a stigma and stereotype. But
Yeah,
most of the people I know, I mean, it's like most people I know, I feel like they're very together with their lifestyle. They're very disciplined. All they
yeah.
do is just work hard and train, dude.
Hmm.
You know, and I think the human cockfighting stereotype for years that like McCain put on it,
I remember that shit,
you
dude.
know, and I was like, it's just not the case, man. Like these people are very, very disciplined people.
You know, it's funny. Even liberals, when John McCain died, were like, "Rest in peace, John McCain." Blah blah.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "What do you mean? This guy tried to cancel MMA? Like, fuck that dude." You know, like,
It's like, hey, thank you for your service, but also fuck you for MMA.
yeah. Like as a fan, I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck? Why would you do this?"
Yeah. There's always like black marks in politicians. They try to cancel shit they don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, it always happens. You know, it's like, did you hear that music has bad language in it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, this is like the ultimate kind of like, it's not a duel of the past age. I mean, what's crazy about MMA is it was like, I want to see which martial art is the best. And like,
Mhm.
instead of talking it, people agreed. They consented as adults. So, hey, I'm gonna try my karate out on your what's it, jiu-jitsu, whatever the hell it is.
You tried to.
I'm gonna knock you out.
Yeah. With my one boxing glove.
Yep. And then, I mean, the fight we just saw, I mean, Ken Shamrock versus Dan Severn, we talked about the statistics on their height and weight,
Hmm.
and you could be smaller, but if I get a hold of you and you can't breathe, it
Exactly.
doesn't matter.
But you know, that's the thing about just grappling in general is that
Mm,
size, yes, it does matter in a way,
mm-hmm.
but if you're not breathing, the fight's done.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a jiu-jitsu competitor or jiu-jitsu practitioner, I feel like the best way to finish a grappling match is by a choke, because that's
Oh
how
yeah.
it would end in the street.
Yeah. I
Like if
mean,
you try to armbar a crackhead, dude, that guy doesn't give a fuck, bro.
like, I'm gonna break both your arms, damn it.
And he's like, I don't care. He's gonna use it as a weapon and just whip it with it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm getting that close to a crackhead too, something I fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, when we get into like all the martial arts and stuff, and they talk about them, I like love training. I love doing all that, but like when it gets down to it, like this works on the streets. I'm like, dude, I'm running, dude. I don't give a fuck what you say.
For real. Like
I'm booking it, dude.
why would I want to put myself in danger like
Yeah,
that?
like, I'm booking it, dude. You really think I'm gonna sit there and be like, oh, sweet,
Yeah. Armbar.
yeah, fucking armbar opportunity?
Yeah. Nope.
I'm like, nope. And and I swear to God, I'm gonna run into the first building I find, hide, and be like, some people are after me and they want to kill me.
For real, man.
You know?
Oh man. So do you want to end it at this note then, brother?
And so, hey, let's closing thoughts on this, brother.
Yeah,
We'll wrap it up. This is our shortest episode by far of Unemployed Commentators.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I think this is a little interesting drive home episode, maybe.
Yeah. After a long shift for sure, and they have to
Yeah.
drive like 15 minutes.
Yep. So, without further doubt, we'll have some cool stuff planned for the next time too.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like in other episodes we're gonna be trying to do one like long episode and then one short episode. I think that's actually a good plan,
Hmm.
actually. And what I think is that Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, Hoist Gracie put grappling
Yep.
on the map, and on the mat.
No
Uh,
question. No question.
yeah, when it comes to grappling and MMA, they changed the game big time. I think Ken Shamrock doesn't get enough recognition as a grappler in the sport of MMA. And yeah, dude, that fight, I think they had like a bunch of other fights too, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just Google that
Yeah.
right now.
I think my kind of closing thoughts too. It's like anytime like I think the whole kind of I guess point of this podcast too is like seeing how things evolve and seeing where things come from and if they still stand up.
Hmm.
And obviously like a lot of this stuff is dated in the fight. I
Yeah,
mean, like I haven't seen people wear like those bikini bottoms in forever.
I know,
You know what I
right?
mean? You know what I mean? Or like the boots, and it's interesting how there's a uniform now. There's sponsors for it things become more organized over time. There's a ruling body, there's a commission,
Yep.
and now it's an actual MMA is an actual art form.
So they had another fight after this one.
Hmm.
It was in UFC 9, and he lost by split decision against Dan Severn
Damn.
in Alabama.
And that's another curiosity too. I think if we watch that talking about like how to judge
Hmm.
properly.
I feel like this whole boxing like 10-9 program or 10-8, whatever it is,
Hmm.
doesn't suit MMA at all.
No.
It doesn't, because like sometimes a judge will score a takedown more than a knockdown,
Yeah.
and I don't think. I mean, then again, if there was a takedown, but then there is control, then yes, it should be a 10-8 round. But if it was
Mm.
just a takedown, then it should just be a 10-9.
Mm.
But then if you knock that person down, then it's a 10-8 round. But then if that person that got knocked down does a takedown and controls the rest of the fight, and let's say it was like 4 minutes in,
Yeah.
how do you score that?
My casual, I think of one that I think was controversial recently with Max Holloway versus Volkanovski.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something similar where I thought like the first two rounds, Holloway, in my opinion, I was like Holloway won those first two rounds. I just
Yeah,
didn't think I think he got out wrestled the last three.
that's a hard one because.
Yeah.
But then again, when I was watching it, I was like, yes, Volkanovski won that fight. Like
Yeah.
I felt like he won that fight. But
I,
then I
I,
rewatched it and I was like,
yeah.
that's a hard one to tell.
Yeah. And that was like a one where like another thing where it's like, okay, if there's a clear cut winner, like I think part of me is like curious too if it's still going to evolve now because like back in the day there's no time limits too. You just go till somebody knocked you out or you won, or and then you're fighting multiple fights in one night. And now it's like I think when people are complaining about the Usman fight too, it's like how do you get the sport even more fast paced even, you know what I mean? And it's like
That fight pissed me off
but
because
I'm curious now too. Is it going to be like freestyle too now, where it's like or like freestyle wrestling, where it's like, hey, we're just going to keep going till
so
pull you up.
I felt like that Kamaru Usman fight when he had him against the cage and he didn't really do much. All he did was stomping his feet and like use his shoulder.
Hmm.
That should have been separated
Yeah,
because
that's my curiosity. Is like they're going to be like, okay, no action within 15 seconds, move.
yeah, because it was an
Yeah,
action. Like what,
yeah,
stomping the feet?
yeah,
Like Jorge Masvidal said that he could have fought like the next day. He
yeah,
didn't took any damage whatsoever. Really, he
yeah,
didn't really take any damage. I felt like damage wise, Jorge Masvidal did a lot more,
yeah,
and that's with Kamaru Usman controlling the fight the whole time.
yeah. And then I mean, we're casual guys who don't compete, but still, it's just like,
Yeah,
how do you create that more action? It's like,
they should have just separated. It's like someone that's
yeah,
in guard. Someone's in guard for like more than 15 seconds, they would just stand them up
Yeah.
if they're not doing damage. And I felt like Kamaru Usman and like that's Jorge Masvidal's fault too. Like
Mm-hmm.
for not knowing how, like not knowing. It's just he couldn't defend it, and especially taking the fight 6 days notice, losing 20 pounds.
That's a
And like
fucking holy I mean, that shit was.
plus jet lag and plus like he ate pizza on the way there, of course.
Yeah.
And he still fucking made the weight.
Yeah.
And he wasn't known for cutting weight either. He missed
Yeah.
weight a bunch of times as a lightweight.
Yeah.
So like I felt that one full training camp, I feel like Jorge Masvidal is championship caliber. I've been saying that since Strikeforce when he fought against Gilbert Melendez.
Mm-hmm.
And like his footwork, his boxing is just that beautiful Cuban style boxing that he has, and his wrestling defense. He has Colby Covington like level wrestling.
Yeah.
And like I feel like he just got gassed.
I think I was like, this guy's. I don't know what I thought, but I was like, all right, this guy's game at least. Like, he didn't give a fuck. He'll fight when he knocked that dude out or smacked him backstage.
Yeah. For real.
And I was like, okay, this guy's a different breed.
Yeah, for real, dude. He is not a gimmick. He himself is a gimmick.
Yeah. It's like I didn't know about the Kimbo Slice shit until like this year. And it was like, and even seeing that fight when I was a kid, I didn't realize it was him. I mean, I wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, dude. This guy even submitted Michael Chiesa, who's a huge submission artist.
Mm-hmm. Is his name Michael Chiesa or Chiesa? I don't know how it's.
Chiesa.
I definitely met him at a bar too.
Really?
Yeah. And it was, dude, here's the thing about like, again, like when you're watching on TV, like you always gotta humble yourself, like no matter what. And I'm not saying I'm a guy who like looks for fights or anything like that, but looking up at this guy, like literally looking up at him, and I'm with 2 other guys about my size, and we're talking to him about MMA, and he's such a fan too. We were talking to him about Gage after the fight, Edson Barboza, and just looking at his fucking ears. I'm looking at his height, and I'm going, dude, who the fuck would ever mess with this guy? And they're all like that, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because he fought Diego Sanchez last year.
Yeah.
And the way he handled Diego Sanchez in that fight made Diego Sanchez look like a purple belt. Yeah. Well, actually like a white belt against a purple belt or a black belt. And Diego Sanchez is a black belt.
And I remember the guys, they're like pointing out, they're like, and I didn't know who he was, but they're like, there's Michael Chiesa. Chiesa. And I literally go, who the fuck is that? You know what I mean? You could point out a fucking Denver Bronco. You point Tom Brady out in a bar to me, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I think it was just more his ears, dude. I mean, I've seen some rough fucking ears.
Yeah.
I've seen some rough
fucking ears. I can imagine
ears.
you being wrestling.
But that dude's ears, I was like, dude, I think you win. I think those are the nastiest ears I've ever seen, dude.
Yeah, those are some nasty ears.
I was like, dude, you're never gonna no headphones for you, bro.
Dude, actually wearing these headphones actually hurt my cauliflower ear.
Damn. Yeah, that's the first thing I always look at is cauliflower. I'm like, fucking.
Yeah, now that I like know about it, I look at people's ears. I'm like,
Yeah. So, I mean, my teammates had some rough ears throughout the years, but there's a lot of guys too who didn't. But like, god damn, his Michael Chiesa's ears. Wow.
He just wins it.
Yeah. I would love to send him a trophy and be like, you have the most beautiful, ugly ears.
Just the ear trophy?
You have the most beautiful, ugly ears I've ever seen. And that's what I gotta feel like. If you're a girl looking for that, you're like, no, your ears aren't as ugly as I like to see.
Yeah, dude, my girlfriend doesn't even want to touch my ear.
Like, I ain't touching it, but I can trust you can at least choke someone out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's so funny.
So that's all I got to say about shit.
Yeah, I think so too here.
So
yeah, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you click the thumbs up, subscribe. We're going to have a lot longer episodes than this. There's going to be sometimes long episodes. There's going to be sometimes short episodes. But yeah, tune in. Yeah. Thank you for listening to Unemployed Commentators, and please employ us.
Yep. And thank you for listening. Whether you got ugly ears or beautiful ears, we appreciate it.
All
So,
ears matter.